Hello folks, and welcome to our comprehensive breakdown of the UK's latest immigration rules, aimed at reducing the number of migrants in the country. In this 10-minute deep dive, we'll explore the new policies announced by the Prime Minister and Home Secretary, dissect the data and statistics that support these changes, and discuss the potential impact on individuals and businesses. Stay with us as we navigate through the complexities of these new regulations, and what they mean for the future of UK immigration. Part 1. The new rules unveiled. The UK government has announced a comprehensive plan to reduce net migration and curb immigration abuse. The key measures of this plan are as follows. 1. Stopping overseas care workers from bringing dependents. The government has decided to bar overseas care workers from bringing their families to the UK. This decision is expected to significantly impact the social care workforce, as in the year leading up to September 2023, the UK issued visas to 101,000 care workers and senior care workers, along with 120,000 dependents accompanying them. 2. Increasing the minimum earnings threshold for skilled worker visas. The minimum wage a sponsor can pay someone on a skilled worker visa is set to increase by nearly 50% in the spring of 2024. This means that the going rate for a chef, which is currently £17,100 per year, and for an IT engineer, which is £21,900 per year, will need to be a minimum of £38,700 per year, if the candidate requires a skilled worker visa. However, those already in the skilled worker route before the immigration rules changes, should be exempt from the new salary threshold, when they change employment, extend, or settle. 3. Reforming the shortage occupation list into an immigration salary list. The government plans to reform the shortage occupation list into an immigration salary list, ISL, effectively ending the 20% going rate salary discount for shortage occupations. This reform is expected to encourage businesses to look to British talent first, and invest in their workforce, helping to deter employers from over-relying on migration. These changes are expected to prevent around 300,000 people, who would have been eligible to come to the UK under last year's rules from entering the country. The reforms are scheduled to be introduced from spring 2024, with the exact timeframe yet to be confirmed. Part 2. Impact on the workforce. The new immigration policies introduced by the UK government are expected to have significant implications for the workforce, particularly in sectors such as health and social care, and the startup community. Here's a detailed look at the potential impacts. 1. Impact on care workers. The decision to prevent overseas care workers from bringing dependents to the UK could deter potential recruits. In the year leading up to September 2023, the UK issued visas to 101,000 care workers and senior care workers, along with 120,000 dependents accompanying them. The ban on dependents is expected to put off potential recruits, as finding a better life for their families can be a major motivation for overseas staff to sign up. However, care workers and senior care workers who are already in the UK prior to the change in rules will still be able to bring their dependents to the UK. 2. Impact on dependents. The new rules will significantly impact dependents of overseas care workers. Home Office figures suggest that nearly 144,000 care workers, who arrived in the UK in the year up to September 2023, brought almost 174,000 family members with them. The prospect of having to work for 5 years, and get indefinite leave to remain before bringing family members to the UK, is likely to reduce numbers of care worker applicants. 3. Impact on skilled workers. The increase in the minimum earnings threshold for skilled worker visas, from £26,200 to £38,700 could make it harder for UK companies to compete globally. This change could burden businesses with up to £10,000 in fees per skilled worker. However, there are exemptions to this rule. Health and care workers, who account for nearly half of people on UK work visas, will be exempt from this increase. An exemption will also apply to people on national pay scales, such as teachers. Moreover, individuals who are already in the UK on the skilled worker visa route will not be subject to the £38,700 threshold when they change employment, extend their stay, or settle in the UK. 4. Impact on students. The UK government has also tightened rules for international students, barring them from moving with their families. This could potentially threaten the talent pipeline for British startups. However, a key recommendation is that international graduates should have access to unsponsored right to work in the UK following their graduation. While the new immigration policies aim to reduce net migration and curb immigration abuse, they could potentially deter skilled workers and students from choosing the UK as their destination, thereby impacting the country's workforce and global competitiveness. Let's pause for a minute. Are you currently enjoying the video? If so, then please take a minute to like, share and subscribe to the channel. Also turn on the notification button, so that you are the first to be notified when the next video drops. In Chronicles of Ola, we talk about life, living in the UK, immigration-related information and lots more. So please join the family and share the channel with your friends. Now let's get back to it. Part 3, Public Opinion and Business Reaction. Public opinion on immigration in the UK is divided, and the new immigration policies have sparked concerns among businesses. Here's a detailed look at the public sentiment and business reactions. 1. Public opinion. As of April 2023, 52% of the UK population believed that immigration numbers should be reduced, while 32% thought that immigration was a bad or very bad thing. However, a majority of the British public now hold positive views about the impact of immigration on the UK, with attitudes becoming significantly more favourable after 2016. The level of opposition varies by the type of question and political affiliation, with Labour voters tending to express more positive attitudes than Conservative voters. 2. Business reaction. The new immigration policies, particularly the increased salary thresholds and restrictions on family visas, have raised concerns among businesses. The increase in the minimum earnings threshold for skilled worker visas from £26,200 to £38,700 could make it harder for UK companies to compete globally. This change could burden businesses with up to £10,000 in fees per skilled worker. Small businesses and businesses outside of London and the South East, which tend to pay slightly less, would be more affected by the new threshold. The startup community has expressed concerns that strict rules on skilled migration will make it harder for UK companies to compete globally. 3. Impact on families and workers. The increase in the minimum income requirement for spouse or family visas to £38,700 from £18,600 could price out British families and businesses. This change could impact many married couples with one spouse stranded in a different nation, and likely separate families from their children, parents, and loved ones. The decision to prevent overseas care workers from bringing dependents to the UK could deter potential recruits. 4. Impact on innovation. The changes to immigration rules could harm UK innovation by reducing the ability for the UK to attract and employ international talent in important roles. The changes could also impact the number of overseas students in UK universities, which could have a detrimental effect on the UK economy and the budgets of UK universities. While a significant portion of the UK population favors reduced migration, businesses are worried about the implications of the new immigration rules. The increased salary thresholds and restrictions on family visas could have far-reaching impacts on British families, businesses, and sectors that rely on migrant labour. Part 4. Looking ahead, implementation and challenges. The new immigration policies in the UK are set to be implemented gradually throughout early 2024. However, these changes are expected to face significant challenges and opposition. Here's a detailed look at the implementation plan and potential hurdles. 1. Implementation plan. The government plans to introduce the changes gradually throughout early 2024. This approach aims to balance the immediate need to reduce net migration and provide predictability to families and businesses. The new rules will affect various aspects of immigration, including the skilled worker minimum salary threshold, modifications to the shortage occupation list, adjustments to dependent visas, and a review of the graduate visa route. For instance, the right for international students to bring dependents will be removed, unless they are on postgraduate courses designated by the government. 2. Legal challenges. The new rules could face legal challenges, particularly the increased income thresholds for living together in the UK. Multinational families threatened with division or exile by these new income thresholds are planning legal action. The Supreme Court has previously pushed back against the government's visa rules, requiring changes to the way the existing minimum income rule was enforced. 3. Political opposition. Various stakeholders, including political parties, have expressed opposition to the new rules. The Green Party, for instance, has criticized the notion of keeping immigrants out of the UK. The party seeks to establish a system that recognizes all migrants as citizens in waiting, and opposes forced migration and forced repatriation. The Labour Party has also expressed concerns about the new immigration bill, describing it as a trafficker's dream. 4. Public reaction. The new immigration policies could face opposition from the public. There have been protests from both anti- and pro-immigration groups, in some cases breaking out in violence. The public's attitudes towards immigration have been softening over the years, with Britain becoming more pro-immigration despite common perceptions about Brexit. 5. Impact on businesses and families. The new rules present challenges and uncertainties for individuals, families, and businesses. The restrictions on students and healthcare workers, coupled with the higher financial thresholds for family and spouse visas, could have far-reaching consequences, potentially impacting the UK's economy. Businesses, particularly in sectors such as technology, engineering, and construction, may face disruption due to changes in the skilled worker minimum salary threshold, and modifications to the shortage occupation list. As we wrap up our analysis of the UK's new immigration rules, it's clear that the government is taking a firm stance on reducing migrant numbers. These changes will reshape the UK's immigration landscape, with significant consequences for individuals, businesses, and the economy. Only time will tell how effective these measures will be, and what challenges lie ahead. Not so fast though. Did you like the video? Do you have friends and family that need to know about these details, to make their move to the UK a success? Then make sure you share, and share. Many of you only watch my videos, a whooping 80% of you, but haven't subscribed. Why not? Please subscribe today, and turn on the notification button so that you be the first to be notified when I drop more of this content. For those that want to support the channel, my PayPal link is in the description of the video. If you need a paid inquiry, make a donation to the channel, and send your details to my email, chroniclesofola@gmail.com. Shalom.